Welcome to the Raw Food Health Empowerment Podcast. I am your host, Samantha Salmon, certified integrative nutrition coach and brain health licensed trainer. And this whole quarter, we are talking about adapting the mindset of a successful individual, what it takes to be successful on a high raw vegan lifestyle, right? It's not just a diet, it's a lifestyle. It's one in which you are health focused, health centered. And today, the term we're focusing in on is self-compassion, which means to be kind to oneself during slip-ups or challenges, right? Perfection is not the goal. Perfection is not even a thing. I tell folks, follow the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the time, you are eating very clean, what your definition of clean is. And 20% of the time, you may allow yourself some wiggle room, right? I know sometimes folks don't even get started because they lack the confidence in the ability to succeed at this thing. They look at it and say, I just can't do it. So they just don't even try. So what I would highly encourage you to do, this is the coach in me, this is a coaching session, okay? Grab your journal and I want you to list out past successes and accomplishments, right? You have been successful at something. You have been able to hold yourself accountable to something in the past. I know for many of my clients, some of them say, I struggle to follow through, but you don't struggle to follow through on everything because you have a job, you have a career, your family members would consider you dependable. So clearly, you can follow through. So I need you to list out past successes and accomplishments in your ability to succeed at anything that you've set your mind to succeeding. It could be getting a job, getting a promotion, following through with some project for the family, whatever it is, right? And start small with manageable steps. So what is it that you're trying to achieve? If you were to break it down into smaller steps, so you could give yourself some quick wins in the beginning, what would those steps be? Actually map out the journey for yourself. If you're not able to map out the journey, then head on over to rawfoodmealplanner.com and book a consultation, and we can map out that journey together for you, okay? There are lots of resources available for you to get from point A to point B. So map it out, and I'm pretty sure maybe you already know what those things are. Write it down. This is why journaling is so important. Recall others' beliefs and investment in you. This may be hard. Some of us don't have the success that we feel we should have, right? Where there's certain people in our lives where we feel like we should have some support from them, at least emotionally, and they are not showing up that way, which is really unfortunate. But there are other people, that do have our backs, that do show up with emotional support because they believe in us and they've invested time, energy, and attention in us, right? They've shared the time, energy, and attention. And lean on that, right? Lean into the folks that actually show up for you when you need it the most, instead of focusing your energy on the people that don't. Because those people that don't will drain your energy and they will play with your mind. There's this concept that we talk about in neuroscience that Dr. Daniel Amen actually came up with called the ants, automatic negative thoughts. These ants infest our minds, right? Because the brain has this negativity bias, right? Which has helped keep us safe for centuries. However, it doesn't help us when we're trying to achieve a goal necessarily, these negative thoughts. We need to really reflect on them. So, for example, if your negative thought is that I can never follow through on this thing, let me take you through that whole process. There's this process that I do with my clients called the work, right? Where we do some reflection on this. And I'm going to quickly take you through it and we can go into more detail on a coaching call. But basically is, what's the thought? Okay, I don't feel like I can follow through on anything. Then you reflect on that thought. Is that true that I can't follow through on anything? Maybe you feel like, yeah, I have tried many times before to go plant-based and I'm not able to follow through. Do you 100% know with 100% certainty that this is true? Yeah, like I've tried many times and I have not been able to follow through. I can't follow through on anything. And then the question is, how do you feel when you believe the thought? I feel like complete crap. I feel like a failure. I feel like I'll never get healthy. I feel like I'm going to have a very painful retirement and just continue to feel uncomfortable in my body. Who would you be without the thought that I cannot follow through on anything? Then I would feel more hopeful. I'd feel like it's a possibility that I can follow through on this whole plant-based thing. Okay, now we turn it around. What's the opposite of that thought? The opposite of that thought is I can follow through on anything. Or you can say, I can follow through on something. And then ask yourself, is that true? We believe in realistic thinking and not necessarily positive thinking, right? And I've had a client like this in the past, one of my earlier clients when I first started coaching, and I was trying to help her get into affirmations. And she was like, this is bullshit. I don't believe it. And I can't force my brain to believe it. So she just could not get on board. Meanwhile, I'm Pollyanna. What do you mean? Because I believe in like positive brainwashing is what I used to call it. We're all being brainwashed. We're all watching the news, watching media, reading, we're absorbing all this stuff. We've been indoctrinated by our school systems, our parents, all this stuff. We've been brainwashed, right? We've been indoctrinated, right? So why not indoctrinate yourself with thoughts that are helpful to help you reach your goal? Because the only thing that matters is your life experience, right? So if the thoughts you're having are giving you a miserable life experience, change it. You have the capacity to change it. So anyway, I understand positive thinking doesn't work for everybody. So we want to do realistic thinking. Okay, so if the turnaround is that I can follow through on some things or I can follow through on anything, then you question it. Is this true? Do I know with 100% certainty that it's true? It is true that I can follow through on some things. I show up to work. I've held this job for many years. My family has get-togethers and I prepare the meals and I do that all the time. I follow through on that task, on that project. I have meetings. I show up to my meetings. I show up on time. So these are all examples of how I follow through. And then how do you feel when you believe the thought? And this question I find is the most important one of all, because how you feel impacts what you believe and then how you act. Because for example, when I first went vegan, I felt great. I was having so much fun. I was having such a culinary adventure, eating foods I had never eaten before, foods I thought tasted horribly, and I had never tried them. I even remember frequenting Cafe Gratitude, which is was at that time when they first started raw vegan establishment, 100%. And the things that they would do with fruits and vegetables, I'm like, look at this ingenuity, innovation. This is just brilliant. And it tastes great. I don't have to sacrifice taste and flavor, my enjoyment of food to be healthy. Wow. I was just like in such, I don't know if the word is rapture, but I was just in love with the lifestyle to the point where my husband's like, let's start a business on this. And I'm like, yes, let's. Because I was invested, because I tried a thing and then I felt so good emotionally that I felt and believed everybody should be on this, right? When you get a drug that is just so, it's like it's a healthy drug and you feel so good, you just want to share it with everybody, right? And this is with all feelings, thoughts, and beliefs, right? When you think a thought, and it's literally manifesting in your body into physical changes, right? So When we're stressed, cortisol increases in the body. Also, insulin increases because of the cortisol. Insulin is increasing. And so this affects how we are acting. When cortisol is surging and insulin is surging, we will act a certain way because of that. And we're showing up in community a certain way because of that, right? Because of a thought. A thought affected us physically, it changed how we felt physically, and then we're acting out. The mind is very powerful. In terms of having self-compassion and lacking confidence in the ability to succeed, just know you don't have to be perfect, but reflect on your thoughts. You have to just take a step forward, and continue to have grace with yourself, have patience for the process, because change happens over time. It's not a straight line, it's up and down. It's a journey, just like life. But you are never back where you started, right? You're never starting over because you've already progressed and had experiences to show you what's possible. You've learned from those experiences. Every time you fell off the wagon, quote unquote, you learned from those falls. So continue to have self-compassion and patience with yourself. This is the key to success on this raw vegan lifestyle. And until next time, have a blessed day.